And now, the general weather around Alaska.
There is still a blizzard warning out here for St. Lawrence Island and the Bering Strait coast for tonight and tomorrow, actually until noontime tomorrow, with winds gusting to 60 miles an hour or higher, creating whiteout conditions and blowing snow in some areas here. And also a blizzard warning there for the eastern Beaufort Sea coast until 3 p.m. tomorrow for, again, the same thing, west winds gusting to 55 miles per hour with blowing snow and reduced visibilities. Got a high wind advisory, a wind advisory out for the eastern Alaska range for winds gusting to 60 miles an hour. And then a winter weather advisory here for the higher elevations there in the Tanana Valley for snow, and also here winter weather advisories for the Yukon Delta. As you can see, Nulato Hills and portions of the Seward Peninsula, again for several inches of snowfall with some gusty wind conditions there as well. Looking at satellite imagery, a lot of cloudiness here over the interior with several areas of surges of moisture pushing northward here. Had some clouds extending out over the Yukon Delta to St. Lawrence Island with the gusty north winds there. Temperatures right around 0 this afternoon with, again, strong north winds extending into the Bering Strait, and cold temperatures all the way down to the Pribilof Islands. Showery conditions here along the Aleutians. Another surge of moisture coming northward, increasing the rain across the North Gulf Coast there from Yakutat into areas of south central Alaska, mostly upslope areas of the mountainous terrain, then some breaks here in the Copper River Basin. And rolling that through again, you can see flow continuing from south to north here, keeping conditions mild. On the mild side, just the opposite out here over the Bering Sea with northerly flow here, bringing colder air southward all the way down toward the Aleutians, eventually into the Alaska Peninsula. On the chart today, a pretty rather a strong low, not all that strong, but stronger than the one that came up over south central Alaska today. That producing the gusty north winds and driving that Arctic air southward there from the Chukchi Sea across St. Lawrence Island. And then the winds diminish as you get down toward the Pribilof Islands with lighter amounts of snow there and some scattered rain and snow showers over the Alaska Peninsula. Snow showers for the west central Aleutian areas, tapering off as you get out toward Chimney-on-Too. And over the interior, mostly dry conditions up here, a little bit of clearing, but again, a lot of cloudiness as we saw on the satellite imagery there. And this weak low pulling up into south central Alaska, actually for tonight, will produce rain, more rain for the North Gulf Coast as this front slowly edges northward there toward the North Gulf Coast and into the Panhandle area. And then rain will taper off to some scattered showers for Kodiak Island. And then for the day, Thursday, low pressure here continues along the southwest coast, stays windy with snow and blowing snow, at least for the morning hours here at St. Lawrence Island. And again, cold air driving southward, bringing snow showers here all the way down to the Aleutians and extending back up to the western Arctic coast. And then that weak low pulls up into the Tanana Valley, bringing that snow to especially the mountainous areas north of Fairbanks. And wind advisory should end for the Alaska range, though, and then quite an area of rain and snow showers here. Leftover moisture for south central Alaska, especially early in the day, areas of rain and snow for the Susitna-Manuska Valley, possibly even the Copper River Basin, and showery and areas of rain and clouds for the North Gulf Coast into the Panhandle. Next system down here to the south, we'll see on Friday, pulls northward, bringing more wind and rain into the southeast coast and even stronger winds and rain into the North Gulf Coast areas, tapering off again right around the Kenai Peninsula there with areas of snow here over the interior all the way up to the central Arctic coast. Look for conditions to clear out here with good northwest winds, drying it out over Kodiak Island with some clearing for Bristol Bay. And still looking at cold air coming southward here, keeping snow, especially on the Bering Sea side of the Alaska Peninsula. And then out to the west, a stronger front pushing gale force winds and rain into the central Aleutian areas with the low center hanging farther back to the west. And then by Saturday afternoon, that low center creeps eastward here, and we're looking at some pretty strong westerly winds across the west central Aleutians, lighter behind the front here, and possible gale force winds, the front weakening as it pulls away from the main low center there. But as you track northwestward here, winds will be stronger toward the Pribilof, stronger yet toward the St. Matthew Island area there. The head of that system drying out here for the southwest coast, maybe a little bit of light snow along the lower Yukon River Valley, southern Seward Peninsula. And Saturday shaping up to be pretty good, really, over much of interior Alaska from the Arctic coast southward into Cook Inlet and Kodiak Island. And this front hung up along the North Gulf Coast there will keep it the same, cloudy and occasionally wet, and that pattern will extend all the way down toward Dixon Entrance. Lows tonight in the 40s, upper 30s and 40s for the southeast coast, upper 20s now for the Copper River Basin, lows in the lower 30s, south central Alaska to Kodiak Island and Bristol Bay. Looking at lows, upper 20s, lower 30s. Highs for tomorrow, upper 30s, lower 40s for Bristol Bay. Back into the lower 40s, all of south central Alaska, all the way down to Kodiak Island. And upper 30s for the Copper River Basin, and in the 40s for the southeast coast. Lows mostly in the 30s for the Panhandle on Friday morning, with mid-teens for the Copper River Basin. Back down into the 20s here for south central Alaska, all the way to Homer. Lower 30s for Kodiak Island, in the 20s for Bristol Bay. Highs, Friday afternoon near 30 for the Copper River Basin area, and in the 40s again for the southeast coast, and anywhere from 35 to 40 south central Alaska, lower 40s Kodiak, and in the mid to upper 30s there for Bristol Bay. Up to the north, coldest areas are going to be here for the northern Seward Peninsula down to St. Lawrence Island, with lows below zero there, but 15 above for Kotzebue and Nome. Single numbers for the north slope and the Arctic coast, teens for the Brooks Range, and teens for the most part, teens and 20s for the interior areas. And then the highs tomorrow in the 30s here for the central interior. Brooks Range, 20s and teens for the Arctic coast, and around 0 to 10 here from Wainwright, actually, all the way down to St. Lawrence Island. Lower 20s, though, for Nome. And then the lows the following morning, on Friday morning, we were looking at temperatures anywhere from 10 to 20 in the interior here, 5 to 10 in the Brooks Range, and a shade below zero here back to the west, and a little above zero for the eastern Arctic coast. And then the highs, upper 20s to lower 30s for the interior, warmest around the greater Fairbanks area, and teens for the Brooks Range, and 0 to 10 for the Arctic coast and North Slope, and right around zero here for the Seward Peninsula, St. Lawrence Island. And then for the Pribilofs tonight, lows in the lower 20s, and upper 20s to lower 30s for the Aleutians and Alaska Peninsula, followed by highs, upper 30s to lower 40s, most areas, except colder for the Pribilofs and the southwest coast, followed by lows Friday morning, 10 to 20 for the southwest coast, near 20 for the Bering Sea, upper 20s to lower 30s for the Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, and the highs Friday afternoon, upper 30s to near 40 for the Aleutians and the Peninsula, mid-20s for the Pribilofs, and quite a range here along the southwest coast, anywhere from 16 to 22.